This week, I'm updating my kitchen chairs. Now, I've done this once before. I took some faux black leather chairs and I decided to paint them, and I'll give you a little close-up. Yeah, now, I have a video on these if you wanted to watch it. I prepped them like I would anything else. And I even left them for 30 days without sitting in them so that I would really give the paint and the sealers time to cure. And for sealers, I used clear acrylic, and I used my regular Howard's beeswax. And yeah, so you can see, I'm going to give you a close-up. You can see what happened. They have totally worn through, and it started right away. The first weekend I had somebody sit in them, it actually wore away here. I had to keep them away from my wall because the paint was actually rubbing off on the wall if the chair touched it. The transfers didn't really stay on. They're starting to peel off. Just very discolored. And I do like the legs though. So cute, right? Yeah. Just not not a good look anymore. So this week I'm going to sand these down a little bit, and I'm going to prep them. I'm going to go over them with some wax wash, and we will prep these again, and I'm going to paint them. And this time I'm going to use a red because I figured I would match the table, which has some red details. So this table, I just want to tell you a little bit about this table. Now, the only thing I did was change the knob, but I kept the knob so that if I ever get rid of it, it will go with the original knob. Yeah, it has a drawer that works really, really well. I waxed it and it moves in and out perfectly, but I never did anything with the legs and with the stretcher bars. So the stretcher bars are missing. And the paint is really chippy. Now, you may hate that, but I love it. And this table, so it has two leaves, which I won't pull out right now. It has two leaves. The entire table is absolutely perfectly unchipped. It does have some, you can see it has some blemishes as far as, it's not really, it's scratched. And so it's dulled in some places, but there's absolutely not even a chip on this table. So, and I don't think I've ever seen one from the probably 40s or 50s that doesn't have a chip on it. So, I mean, this is pristine as far as the top is concerned. I've never seen one as nice. It's kind of Art Nouveau as far as the style. Art Deco, Art Nouveau. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the chairs red, and I'm going to find some kind of stencil that will match. And I'm going to do just a little bit of white detailing on the chairs. And so, yeah, that's my plan, and I hope to stick to it. Hi, my name is Kat from Owling Dog. I love creative arts and restoring old furniture and other items. The time you spend watching this channel is appreciated. I hope you subscribe and like these videos, which helps circulate the content. Feel free to drop a comment. All of these are appreciated. Well, let's go see what's in the barn. So here I'm going to use a wax wash and remover by Mohawk, and then I'm going to do some sanding just to make sure that there's a nice tooth in the paint and to remove those transfers, which was truthfully was a lot more difficult than I had imagined. Now in between I did a wash with just Dawn soap and some water. Then when I brought them inside, I wiped them down with some straight alcohol, just to prep for painting. So after sanding them down, I did rinse them with some soapy water. And this is just 91% alcohol. And this just makes sure that there is no oils left on them and anything that would interfere with the paint adhering. Now, just to be aware, this is the same thing I did last time, but, you know, the paint didn't adhere. So, here's hoping for the best. I'm going to do both chairs. And so this is a Waverly paint called Crimson. And I'm going to try a coat of it. This is a new, not a new, but a just freshly washed brush. I'm going to try a coat of the Crimson and see if I like that color. If I don't, the thing I'll probably do is mix it with a little bit of black just to take it a little more opaque. So let's see what happens. Now, typically reds are very translucent. So I don't doubt that it will need a couple of coats. But basically, I don't mind doing a few coats, but I just want to see if this is actually the color that I want in the kitchen. I will say red is not my favorite color. But hopefully it goes with the kitchen table, so in that case I'm good with it. So I'm going to continue doing this and I will catch up in a little bit instead of making you watch. Okay, so this is one coat. You can still see my old stripes there. I did as thin a coat as I could. I like to do thin coats, especially the first coat. So we did a lot with these chairs. You know, I washed them, I put a wax remover on it, alcohol, and now a first coat. I actually do like the color. I think it goes well with the table, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel after this is dried. I'm actually going to leave it dry for quite a while. I'm going to give it at least a couple of hours, even though it feels dry to the touch after soon after doing the first coat. You do want to let that dry, or at least that's the way I do it, and I've had good luck with that so far. So let's let that dry for a while. Obviously, you can see some spots and some see-through, but I'm not worried about it. And yep, so we'll catch up in a couple of hours. So I had a different shade on my table lamp, and it was decorated in pinks and things, and I had it in another room. Then I brought it to the kitchen and put it on the kitchen table, and it was cute, but I didn't really like the pink. I do have pink in the kitchen. I have some what I would call hot pastels. They're not true pastels, but they're not primary colors. They're kind of bright pastels. And my kitchen is basically white, so I can put a lot of different colors in here, and it seems to always go pretty much as long as it's a warm color. So anyway, I had changed out the pink shade for this shade that came on another lamp that I didn't like the shade, and I put a new shade on it anyway. So I had the idea that I would paint this. I may as well paint it, right? So yeah, let's do that. And I have this bottle here also for a reason, so I'm going to decorate that as well. This lamp was I'm pretty sure it was a clear lamp, and I painted this years ago with a chalk paint, and it's really has a nice texture, and I love the color. That's one thing you'll find when you're spraying a fabric, is that you're going to need to wet it. And now I'm actually going to pour my paint into an open container. It's fine to go into the jar when you first open the bottle, but after the paint gets low in the jar, not quite as much fun. Here we go. Yeah, so I'll probably need a couple of coats for this. But I have my chairs all done, and I will show you in a minute. And I'm not going to make you watch me paint the entire shade, so let's catch up in a minute. So, sorry if you can hear the dryer. Stuff's got to be done. So a lot of times I decorate bottles, just glass bottles that I get in grocery, and I don't throw them away. I take the labels off and decorate them, and sometimes it's makes a good prop, or somebody wants it or whatever. So I did put the tape around it, but because it's a little bit of a curve around this bottle, it left some little edges, and so I will just freehand make it even if I can. Whoop. Oh, that's lovely. So I'll have to go over that one with the white paint. So I'm going to add some stencils to the lampshade. I've put one right here just to kind of practice with it. Part of the reason that I do some practice runs is because this is easy to paint over. If I don't like it, I just put more red paint on it, which I could do with the chairs as well. But I figured I would just get the feel of this particular stencil because they're all a little bit different. It's a redesign with Prima decor stencil in the flourish, which is pretty. And I got this to do my bedroom wall, and I haven't done it yet. It's on my list of things to do. But because the table, let me show you the table. So the table has red designs on it, and so this design right here has the vines and the grapes, and it has that basic shape. So I thought, well, in case I don't really want to freehand it, it has that basic shape on the top of this stencil right here. So I thought, well, let me try to use that, at least on the lampshade, and see how I like it. And then what I plan to do is to stencil only the backs of the chairs, because I learned from last time that if you put anything on the seat or the back of the seat where someone's sitting, it's just going to take an awful lot of abuse. And this is only a faux leather, so for that reason, probably it just doesn't adhere that well. And I decided that I'm not going to use an acrylic spray like I did the last time, because I'm not sure if that degrades the paint actually on the faux leather. In other words, it just that leather-like material just may not like the acrylic hard coating. So what I decided to do is only wax. So I will stencil, I'll practice on the lampshade, and I'm sure it'll be cute. And like I say, if I don't like it, I can paint right over it. And so I want to make sure that it's level. and then I don't have it on the dirty paint side. So yeah, I'm going to line it up. I can actually line it right on the seam. Yep. So I can see the seam of the chair through this pattern. It's a little squishy, so I'm going to have to push kind of hard on it. I have the paint behind me right here. The most important part of an effective stenciling technique is to apply equal pressure where you're dabbing the paint. Also, I'm dipping my paintbrush into the paint and then dabbing it off on the cardboard so it's closer to dry brushing. The more paint you have on your brush or sponge or whatever tool you're using, the more likely you'll get a bleed under the stencil. I would rather add another coat of paint than have it bleed under the stencil, although you will get that. That's probably unavoidable. My fingers sometimes cramp, but if you try to put yourself in a comfortable position while you stencil, it won't be so bad. I'm trying to be aware of the camera, but if you don't have to worry about recording, it's better. But most importantly, I'm trying to place my fingers and use pressure where the paint is going to go down. So just a little bit of patience, equal pressure, and it comes out nice. Just want to make sure that my brush is still dry enough. And I can see a few spots where I'm going to have to go over it with the red. Not too bad. I'm using Howard's Citrus Shield paste wax. And like I said, I opted not to use any acrylic, just thinking I would degrade the paint. So I'm going to do one coat of the Howard Citrus Shield. I'll let it sit for about an hour, and then I'll come back and buff it down. And I may do 2 coats. And then after this, I plan on doing the same thing that I did originally, and that's waiting to use the chairs. So usually paint and the wax finishes are about 30 days to cure. So, you may not have to worry about that. It depends. But if I want these to last even another year, I'm going to take the time to just leave them and try not to sit on those chairs. So hopefully it will work out. So 1 coat of wax, and then I will buff them. So, I mean, you might think, oh, they're not decorated enough. And maybe they're not, but I had such a poor result with the last time. I didn't want to do the same actions and expect a different result, knowing what happened last time. So, yeah, it's the best it's going to be. Here's the kitchen looking out the tiny jalousie window out back. This was 2018. It was dark, low, and confined. I raised the ceiling, moved 2 walls, added more windows and a skylight. It's bright and cheerful now. That's the bathroom door. And that's where the little low window was. That's Louise. Hi, Louise. She loves being on camera. Before and after. I think the chairs came out pretty good. I think I can live with the red, at least through the summer.